All right.
Who do you want to talk to next?
Let's talk with...
Ooh, how about Asdruval in Guatemala?
Okay, sounds good.
Ooh, just because that ties really well into that last call we had.
Well, you have picked somebody I haven't typed up yet. Oh, I
That's
have.
okay.
Never mind. Go for it. All right.
Asdruval in Guatemala, you're live with Eric and V.
Hi, Eric. Hi, V. It's a pleasure to be with you here.
Thank you so much for calling in. You have a really interesting topic. Would you like to present it? What did you want to call it? What did you want to talk about today?
Well, I was thinking, since the first time I saw your show, I was like, I really want to talk to them because you present really good points. I'm currently an agnostic. I wouldn't call myself an atheist because I am not saying God does not exist. I just don't know and honestly don't care.
We actually feel the same way.
Sorry. Oh, well, I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, I think it might just be definitions because the way that I define agnostic is that I don't have, it is the I don't know part, and other agnostics would say that it is impossible to know. But anyway, that's going far afield. What did you want to talk about? Sorry.
Yeah. Don't worry. Well, there is this idea, and when you were talking to the other guy previously, you were talking about like this sinful nature and this stuff. I'm gay, and I went through a very tough process of acceptance, like accepting myself, and because when I started acknowledging that I was homosexual, at the same time, I started going to church. So I think that was not the best combination of events. The thing is, at first I would feel normal. I mean, natural. I mean, I would see a guy or a kid because I was 13, and I would see a boy, and I would be like, oh, he's cute. Yeah. But then I started going to church. I honestly fell in love with the community in the church because the church I used to go to has this very strong sense of belonging. And I was like, okay, I like this community. I like these people. Let's see if I can be myself here. Then I noticed I couldn't. So I went through 7 or 8 years of torture, like hating myself and feeling, all right, I was born this way. Why? I don't know. But God, you can change me. So I went through a process of begging God. I remember myself when I was 12, I was begging and crying, literally on my knees next to my bed and saying, God, if you can turn me into a woman, maybe I can be not sinful. I mean, I can like men being a woman. So please turn me into a woman. And I was crying. I fell asleep crying. And in the morning, I was still a boy. So it was tough. It was tough. Then, like 3 years ago, I asked, I didn't ask anyone because I was afraid, but I asked myself and I wondered, why am I gay? And then I started researching and I noticed, okay, this is natural. This is not something did to me or made me do or made me become. Now, why does God not like people being gay? So I started like researching because I used to love reading the Bible. So I was like, okay, I know the Bible, but there aren't clear verses like that talk about this topic. Yeah. So I would start researching and stuff, and I got to the conclusion that God has this thing of predestination, and that scared me a lot. Yeah, that scared me a lot because then I realized, okay, if God created me this way, He knew I was going to be gay. He is condemned. He is going to condemn me to eternal damnation for something I did not choose, and I am supposed to live in a constant fight against myself.
Yeah. How can we help you on this? How can we? It seems like we're.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. What?
My question.
No, go on.
My question is, I am currently 96% sure that I'm who I am, but sometimes I see people who are starting their journey, their deconstruction journey. Or even myself, sometimes I find myself like wondering, what if I'm wrong? What if all those crazy Bible prophecies are right, and I'm just part of that negative side of the prophecy where people are going to start abandoning faith, and So I'm like, oh my God, how do I get rid of this thought?
Yeah.
Whew, that is.
What do you think?
Yeah.
There are so many different places where that comes into play in so many different ways that I feel like we could probably do a whole hour just trying to give you different examples. V, do you have any that come to mind right away?
The biggest thing for me was learning about church history. It seems counterintuitive, right? There's a lot of very like strong emotional feelings here. These very like, what if I'm wrong? And part of me wants to be like, you aren't. It's okay. Like everyone has that 4% doubt, and that's healthy. That is good, and you're fine. But being practical and giving you like an actual go-to thing to do, I would say start researching the history of Christianity, where it started, where it came from, what the church fathers have done to influence how we interpret the Bible, the kinds of texts that have been removed from the Bible. So the concern about it maybe all being true and me being the wrong one was mostly alleviated by realizing that 98% of what I thought was just the Word of God was actually some crusty old dude back in the Middle Ages deciding how to interpret something and getting everybody else to agree. And now that's just how we interpret the thing. So once you realize how many gaps and how many people's hands have been on this doctrine, on this religion, and how different individuals who you've never even heard of before have changed it and shaped it in ways that impact us today, vastly undercuts that idea that there is a way to be and somehow most people have got it and we haven't and we're going to be punished for it. So that's what helped me the most, and it was also just very entertaining and very fun to do. So I would definitely recommend just diving into all of this. Yeah.
And the other two pieces that I would kind of throw in are kind of from a different direction. One of them is, I mean, yes, I agree. You know, if you want to know, research as much as you can. Also work on that toolkit. You know, what do you do when you're not sure? Right. What, you know, should I get in the car and drive to the store? What if I get hit by another car? What if I get struck by lightning if I go outside? How do I make those choices? How do I run the odds in my head and decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do versus that? What really dramatically changed things was realizing that hundreds of thousands of other religions and faith traditions are also believed and have been believed by other people. And so what if I'm wrong and one of those people are right? It dramatically reduced the likelihood in my head of, you know, just the one that I was worried about. And I realized that I had weighted that one a lot more than the others. And so kind of putting that in perspective helped. And the last piece that I think that I would give you is learn how to be wrong. Right? When you find out that you're wrong, there are a lot of ways to react. You could say, no, that's not the case, and dig your feet in and be angry about it. You could say, wow, I didn't know that. Let's look into it. Or if you just find out you're wrong, you know, what do you do? And I think that one of the best habits to give yourself is as you're exploring, as you're learning, when your gut kind of drops out and you get that feeling like, oh gosh, I have no idea. That's what eureka feels like. That's what discovery feels like. That's what a big growth and change in your life feels like. It feels like a in the pit of your stomach, you know, oh my gosh, I didn't know, or oh my gosh, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and instead of being afraid of it, try your best to embrace it, because you are not that feeling. That feeling is your opportunity to go, I'm going to be better for this.
Wow. Thank you so much. I really appreciate those words. And you're totally right. I mean, I'm not that concerned about myself, but about people who I know that are going through this, are just starting this journey. And I think the hardest or the toughest part of the process is acknowledging first, when you know you're wrong or that you might be wrong, you start doubting and saying, well, my life, this is what my life used to be. I mean, at least in my case, my life would totally revolve around my faith. That was my whole identity. So starting to unlearn certain things, certain habits, certain thought processes, I don't know, those cognitive consequences and emotional and psychological consequences that these harmful beliefs give you, it's really hard. I mean, I would say in my case, Asdruval, what I need to do is to start going to therapy. I mean, this would be that would be like a good closure to my process.
It is
my personal journey.
And there's a lot of growth that you can do. And I think after this, we're probably going to move over to the next caller. But I think what you can do is those what you're going to confront, all of those habits, you don't need to get rid of them as much as recognize them, turn them into red flags on the highway of your mind as you're traveling through your life. If you see that you're, that there's an off ramp and, oh my gosh, that is this kind of thinking, you can recognize it for what it is. But you've had these chances in your life to find all of these different things that you can take with you moving forward, so you don't fall into them again.
Sure.
Yeah, but Asdruval?
I totally get it. Thank you so much for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for calling in, and we wish you luck. We've both been where you are. We're still kind of there.
Yeah.
And we see you. You're not alone.
No, you're not.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Yeah. I don't know. There's the protect instinct that comes up where it's like, tell me who's telling you these things and I will go punch them.
Right.
But really for me, it's a lot less glamorous, I guess. It's just, hey, look just a little bit deeper. And it becomes so clear that things start falling apart. And you're like, oh, okay. I am not facing off against this impenetrable wall
fortress.
It's actually just it's a house of cards. All right.
Yeah.